Well, happy Tuesday and welcome to VA Careers Live. My name is Mike Owens and I'm a national recruiter with the Veterans Health Administration, as well as your host for our weekly segment, Talk About It Tuesday. If you're tuning in for the first time, I just want to let you know that we are here every Tuesday. That's right, we're here every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. So feel free to grab a snack and grab a drink and join us as we talk about career related items here at VA. Now, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been with us for the whole 3 years that we've been broadcasting, and no matter if you've been here the first time or you've been here the whole time, I want to say, first of all, say thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being an active participant in our broadcast. But we want you to be part of the conversation. We don't like people to be shy. We don't want you guys to be ghost followers. We want to hear what you have to say, whether that is in the form of a comment, a form of a tip, a form of advice, or a form of a question. Whatever it is, go ahead and put those in the comment section, because you never know how your comment can help somebody, and we want to make sure that we help everybody that watches our broadcast in any way that we can, whether it's coming from me or whether it's coming in form of advice for anyone that's in the comment section. Yes, and don't feel shy. If there's anything that we're talking about here on this broadcast and you feel that you have a comment that can enhance the conversation, you have a comment that can help someone, or maybe you have something for me, maybe there's information I didn't know that you can pass along to me, go ahead and put that in the comment section. So again, please don't be shy. We appreciate when anyone is part of our conversation or anyone's a part of our broadcast. So again, leave those questions in the comments. And if there's anything that we can address, again, we'll try to address those throughout the day and throughout the week. And even on some of our live broadcasts, we try to address some of those questions and comments. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we all know someone who wants to work at VA. We all know someone that needs this information. So let's not keep it to ourselves, all right? Let's go ahead and pass this information out to as many people as possible. So with that, we want you to hit the share button again. And I'm going to ask nicely, can you please hit the share button? And let's get this information out to as many people as possible. But before you hit the share button, we have two hashtags that we like to have associated with this broadcast. One is hashtag VA Careers. Again, hashtag VA Careers. And the next hashtag is hashtag Work at VA. Again, our two hashtags associated with this program, Talk About It Tuesday, is hashtag VA Careers and hashtag Work at VA. And if you want to add a third hashtag, you can use hashtag Talk About It Tuesday, whatever you want. So with that being said, before we get into the meat and bones of our or the meat and potatoes, not meat and bones, the meat and potatoes of our broadcast today. This last weekend was the start of the NFL season. So, and I know, everyone may not be an NFL fan, but I know I have some NFL fans out there. So, with that being said, the question of today is, how did your favorite sports teams do this weekend? So, and you can even put college. I know we have a lot of college football fans out there. I know that I am. So how did your sports team do this weekend? So I'll go first. I am from Louisiana. I live in New Orleans currently. And I am an LSU fan. I love LSU football. I'm crazy about it. But guess what? LSU did win this weekend. And then I am a Saints fan, obviously. If I'm from New Orleans, I can't root for anybody but the New Orleans Saints. So if you are a Saints fan out there, who dat? We did beat the Tennessee Titans this weekend. It was a tight game, but we did it, and I'm proud of the team, and I'm happy that I was able to get a win from LSU and the New Orleans Saints. So again, the question of today is, how did your favorite sport team or teams fare out? How did they fare this weekend? And then don't be shy. Even those Cowboys fans, I know you're out there. If you're a Cowboys fan, I'll even accept your answers. All right. So with that being said, today is our second Tuesday of the month. And for those who've been following us for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even a couple of years, you know that on the second Tuesday of each month, we have a special Q&A session. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. So again, I'll start off with some questions that were sent to us last week, but if you have anything that you would like me to answer, and if I can answer that, obviously I'm not an expert at everything, so I won't be able to answer every question. But if you do put your question in there and I can't answer it right now, I'll always go research and come back and give you that answer at a later date. So yes, today is our special Q&A session. I know that on the second Tuesday of each month, you guys are normally used to seeing my coworkers or my colleagues, Kendra or Tim, But they had other competing things going on today, so you guys get stuck with me today. So if you are a Kendra or Tim fan, they miss you this week, but I'm honored to be able to be here for your Q&A this week. All right. So with that being said, again, I'll go ahead and start off with some questions that was asked of us last week. So we have a very particular question today. Denise, first of all, Denise, thank you for asking this question. So Denise is asking about the peer support specialist role. So here at VA, we have a peer support specialist role. And what a peer support specialist does, a peer support specialist is basically an advocate for veterans that work here at VA. They're not social workers, but they're advocates to help those that have maybe struggled with any type of addictions or any type of illnesses or any type of struggles that they may have had in the past. Those peer support specialists are there to be an advocate to those veterans. All right, they're there to be a helping hand, to be an advocate, whether that veteran is there for outpatient care or inpatient care, or maybe they're there for long-term care. But peer support specialists, they play an important role, and the VA looks for certain particular individuals to be peer support specialists. So what Denise is asking, is there any way to waive the certification for peer support specialists with a registered nursing or occupational therapy license? So again, Denise is asking if someone is a registered nurse or a licensed occupational therapist, can they waive the requirement to be a certified? Can they waive the certification requirement to be a peer support specialist? So, Denise, again, thank you for that question. So, Denise, my answer is that when the VA is looking for a peer support specialist, they're looking for a special type of veteran. They're looking for a veteran who may themselves have been in a recovery process from any type of condition that they may have, whether it was a mental health issue or maybe it was an addiction issue. But peer support specialists are someone that may have recovered from something, and they're hired to help those that are going through some of those same type of issues within VA. And so they go through a special certification process, and that certification process is it's criteria that came all the way from the Secretary of the VA's office. So with that being said, I have never heard of anyone getting waived of that requirement because they were a registered nurse or occupational therapist. So I'm not going to say that it cannot happen, but I've personally never seen it happen. There are certain criteria that must be met to be a peer support specialist. And VA has always been a stickler of making sure they follow that criteria, because again, you want to make sure you have the perfect person for that position, because you're in a special position that's very delicate, and you want to make sure that the right people are in it. They have the right certifications and they meet the certain criteria for the peer support specialist role. So with that being said, if I can give you an answer, again, I will never say that. I'm not going to sit here and say that has never happened. But I will never say that has never happened, but I've never seen it happen. So I will just go on the side of caution that yes, I don't think that it will get waived if someone's a registered nurse or a licensed occupational therapist. But if there's someone here that works for the VA, or maybe we have a peer support specialist watching the program, if there's anything that you can add on to this conversation, go ahead and feel free and put that in the comment section. So again, Denise, thank you for asking that question. So the next question that we have is coming from Kelly. So Kelly, thank you for submitting your question. Kelly is asking, what would be the reason that we would not be picked for a position that we're qualified for, including education? So to kind of just talk about Kelly's question. So Kelly's asking, so if I go to VA Careers, I look up a job, I'm qualified for it, I have the education for it, I have the experience for it, why would I not be picked for that? So Kelly, there's a lot of different reasons for that. There's reasons that maybe your application didn't clearly articulate that you were qualified. So you have different statuses when it comes to applicants. You have the people that are not qualified for that position, you have the applicants that are qualified, and you have the applicants that are highly qualified. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that no matter what position, whatever vacancy here at VA that you apply to, you want to make sure that your application puts you in the highly qualified category. So again, that means that for every position that you apply for, you have to make sure that you look over your application each time. I know a lot of times we just want to go ahead and just plug and play. We see this position here. I'm going to use this same application, or I'm going to use the same resume. Okay, here's another position. I'm going to just use it. We don't update our resumes, or we don't update our applications. And sometimes we're only put in the qualified category and not the highly qualified category. So a lot of times those are who refer to the hiring manager. Those are the candidates that were deemed highly qualified. So again, you have to tailor your resume. You have to make sure that your resume articulates that you're the perfect person for that position that's being announced, not the job title. A lot of times we look at job titles and we figure, okay, I was an engineer, so why am I not qualified for an engineer position? It's because maybe the qualifications that the hiring manager is looking for, you may not possess it, or if you do possess it, guess what? Your resume or your application didn't clearly articulate that. So before you apply for any job, make sure that you kind of look at your resume, look at the requirements for the open vacancy, and just kind of make sure that some of that key language is in there. Again, don't copy and paste. Because that just makes it so obvious. But if you meet some of those qualifications that are under the requirements in the job announcement, but they're not on your resume, make sure you put those in your resume. But the only way you can do that is by reading. All right. So another reason why you may not be in a pick is because, again, as a hiring manager, as someone that sees applications, as someone that sees the number of applicants, depending on the type of position it is, if it's just a generic admin position or a support position, you have thousands of candidates applying for one position. We have lots of positions where I know a lot of times you may apply for a position and you don't know how many people are applying, so you figure, okay, I'm a shoo-in. But a lot of times you're competing against hundreds of thousands of other people. And I know that some of you may have special status. Some of you may have disabled veteran status. Some of you may have veteran status. Some of you may already be an employer of the VA. So you figure, okay, I have the current employer status. But you have to realize you're not the only one that's applying for these positions that have that status. So just because you're a veteran doesn't mean that you're going to get the position, because you may be competing with maybe 50 or 100 other veterans that apply for that same position. So just remember that, sometimes there's just someone that may be just more qualified that got the position, because here at the VA, contrary to popular belief that to get a job with the VA, you have to know someone. That's not true. When I got hired, I didn't know anyone at the VA. And I know there's other people that I know that work here at VA that were hired and had no clue about who worked here at the VA. They were the most highly qualified position for that person for that position. But what happens is you have to realize you are competing against other status candidates, which means you're competing against other veterans, you're competing against other VA employees, you're competing against other disabled veterans. You're competing against a lot of people that have the same status as you. So a lot of times it's just that someone was deemed more qualified for the position. And then again, there's a lot of other reasons. This question right here can take up a whole broadcast. So again, the biggest thing I just wanted to take from Kelly's question is, if you're not picked for position, when you apply for future positions, make sure your resume, make sure your application shows that you are the most, or can articulate that you're a highly qualified candidate, not just qualified, but highly qualified. So again, that means go over your resume. Make sure your resume matches some of the language that's inside of the job announcement. Make sure everything, any awards or anything that you've got from previous jobs or previous work experience or from schooling, make sure that's inside your application to help enhance your application. Any education that you've done, any education that you've earned, make sure you have that. Make sure you have all your transcripts. Just make sure you have everything in your application to make you a highly qualified candidate. And if you don't get the position, no, it's not because the VA doesn't hire veterans. It's not because the VA doesn't like you. It's not that. It's just that someone else was deemed the most qualified candidate, and that's a lot of times what it comes down to. So, Kelly, thank you for that question, and we appreciate that. All right. So, We're going to go to a question that was submitted by Jordan. So, Jordan, thank you for submitting this question. So, Jordan is saying, I have recently applied on USA Jobs for an information technology position, so an IT position. How long is the wait for the response usually? So Jordan is saying that Jordan has applied for a position, an IT position here with VA. So I'm not sure if the position is closed or not, but Jordan is basically asking, how long do I have to wait to hear something? So I would say for most positions, not all, but I would say for at least 85% of the positions that are put on VA careers and USA Jobs, nothing's going to happen until that job closes. Okay, nothing's going to. But if there's going to be some type of movement before that job closes, before the closing date, it'll be specified inside the announcement. It may say, hey, after the first 50 candidates apply, we'll look at, even though the position will stay open, we'll look at the first 50 candidates that apply, and they may do it in increments of 50, increments of 25. So in those special instances, they may have some type of movement before the closing date. But most times it won't. Most times nothing won't happen to that application process, or the application process or the hiring process won't start until the closing date happens, until the closing date has come and gone. So what happens after that is that obviously USA Jobs or VA Careers, they go through the screening process. And then again, those most highly qualified, not just only qualified, but the most highly qualified candidates will get referred to the hiring manager. Now, here's a caveat to that. If you're referred to the hiring manager, I don't want you to just feel like that may be just a handful of people. That may be 20, 30 plus people that were referred to the hiring manager. So again, if you're ever referred to the hiring manager, again, you're not just one of maybe 3 or 4 or 5. You may be 1 of 3, 4, and 5, depending on the position, but there could be dozens of applications that were referred to the hiring manager. So even if you're referred to the hiring manager, you're still competing against a few dozen people. So I just want to kind of put that out there. But again, depending on how many applications that were referred to the hiring manager is going to put together a team that's going to rate all of the applications. All right. So if we get 20 applications, a team of us are going to go through those 20 applications and rate them. Then from those, we're going to pick, if the hiring manager says, hey, I want to interview 5 people, guess what happens? Then after we rate those applications, we're going to pick the 5 that have the highest rating, and then we're going to interview those people. Now, again, the interview process is another monster, because again, we have different people's schedules. You have the candidates, we have to make sure that we interview them and it's convenient for their schedule. So 5 people, it may take 2 weeks to interview, because one person may not be available the first week, and just so many things. And then also for the hiring panel or the interview panel, their main job isn't to interview people. So they may be a hiring manager for another section. They have other duties or other job titles that they hold within the facility or within the VA program office. So you have to make sure their schedules align. So again, just because you're interviewing 5 people doesn't mean it's going to happen all in one day. It may take 2 to 3 weeks to even get through interviews for just 5 people. Now, once that happens, if there's not a clear winner or a clear selection from that first round, then guess what? There's going to be a second round of interviews. And then once that second, again, then you go through that whole process again, making sure there are no schedule conflicts, making sure that everyone is able to be there for that interview. So those second round interviews may take another week or 2. So, and then once the selection is made, the hiring manager sends that selection over to human resources. Now, in most cases, the hiring manager will not call you themselves. They send the selection over to human resources. Human resources is the entity that contacts the candidate to let them know that they've been selected. And then once they've been deemed selected, then they have to go through the hiring process. So to answer your question, Jordan, it can take anywhere between a week and sometimes a month, sometimes 2 months. Okay. But I would say, if you haven't heard anything, let's say you apply for this IT position and it closed. I would say wait about 3 weeks before you start inquiring about it. So if 3 weeks have passed and you haven't heard anything, you haven't got any emails saying that you've been deemed eligible or referred to the hiring manager, I would say wait about 3 weeks. Then there should be a point of contact, or there may or may not, but a lot of times there is a point of contact that's on that job announcement, and you can contact that point of contact, or you can, if there's no point of contact, if you're applying to a specific VA hospital, you can call that VA hospital, get transferred to their human resources office, and kind of inquire what happened. So I would say wait about 3 weeks if you haven't heard anything, but really there's no definite or definitive timeline that I can give you. The hiring process sometimes happens really quickly, and sometimes it takes forever based on different situations, because again, there's a lot of factors that goes into the hiring process. So Jordan, I hope that I was able to answer your question. Thank you. So I'm going to take a few questions that we've had submitted from the audience here. All right. So I have a question that says, can you be reinstated if you are a federal employee for less than a year? So let's say I got hired on as a federal employee and I worked maybe my job was temporary, a temporary position, or maybe I held a position and I left before my year is up. Now, as long as your leaving wasn't a cause of any like major disciplinary problems, or you wasn't dismissed, yes, you can be reinstated. You can come on. You can apply for a job under the former federal employee status. And yes, you can be reinstated. But remember that this is a very broad question, because sometimes we don't get all the information. But if your time with the federal government that you had prior to being reinstated was not if that federal employment didn't end because of disciplinary actions or anything that you were fired or anything like that, yes, you can be reinstated. Even if you were fired, there's a possibility that you can be reinstated, but you have a better chance of being reinstated if your time with the federal employee didn't end with the federal government didn't end because you were dismissed because of disciplinary action. So thank you for that question. So I have another question. It says, how does someone become a GS? Do we have to start at GS1? So again, I guess this is someone that's not in the federal government. They're like, okay, I want to become a federal employee. As you know, there's 15 steps of the GS pay scale. There's GS1 all the way up to GS15. And so this person is asking, how do I get in, and do I have to start off as a GS1? So the question to that is no. You will rarely ever see GS1, GS2, GS3 positions out there. Most of the time, if you're at the very entry level of the pay scale, you'll see a GS. Periodically, you see a GS4 position out there, but most of the time, your entry level starts at GS5. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any GS3 or GS4 positions out there, but it's very rare that you will see a GS3 or GS4 position. But a lot of your entry level positions start at GS5. Now, does that mean that I have to start off as GS5? No. It just depends on your education. It depends on your level of experience. I've seen people come in as GS5s. I've seen people come as GS6. I've seen people come in as a GS7, GS9, even a GS11. I've seen people come in at different GS grades. So it's not about starting from the beginning. It's not because the number goes from 1 through 15, I have to start at number 1, or I have to start at the lowest level. No, that all just depends on your education. That depends on your work experience. That just depends on a lot of things in your history. So no, you don't have to start off as GS1. But you'll have to have a self-assessment of your own experience, a self-assessment of your own educational background, and you'll have to, and from there, then you'll have to decide what position or what level are you comfortable at applying for. If you feel like you have a whole bunch of manager experience and you have a plethora of years of experience, you may want to try to apply for like GS9, GS11 positions. But if you're someone that maybe just be graduating school, or you're a couple of years out of school and you don't have that much work experience and you want to just try to get your foot in the door, you may want to apply for like GS5, 6, or 7 positions. But again, that's a self-assessment that you have to make. That's a self-assessment that you have to make for yourself. You have to look at your experience. You have to look at everything that's put in your application, you have to ask yourself, okay, where would I fit in, or at what pay grade should I apply? So I know I kind of went on a tangent there. I have a kind of habit of doing that, but yes, you don't necessarily have to start off as a GS1. All right. Let's see. I think I have time for one more. I have a question that says from Shelly. It says, "What's the best way to complete a federal resume?" So there's different ways. If you look in the comment section right now, Shelly, there are a handful of people out there that are resume experts, and you may ask them a question. There's a lot of resources online. If you just go to Google, there's a lot of resources. We have resources on our VA Careers website. Again, that's one thing that I want to kind of caveat in there. I know I have this Talk About It Tuesday platform, but we have a whole website that corresponds with this program. It's called VA Careers. Again, VA Careers. If you Google VA Careers, our website will pop up, and we have all the information that you need to know about VA on our VA Careers website. So I challenge everyone, after this broadcast is over, sometime today or sometime throughout the week, go to our VA Careers website, and all of the information that I'm giving you will be on that website. Even some of our broadcasts, Talk About Tuesday broadcasts from the past. But again, to complete a federal resume, you can do hired help. You can find someone that specializes in federal resumes. I know if you have a VA hospital that's near you, there are some human resources offices at a VA hospital. They have a resource center where you can go in and get help get help with your resume from someone that actually works in the human resources role at a VA hospital. So again, if you live near a VA, I know everyone doesn't live near a VA hospital, but if you do live near a VA medical center or VA hospital, you can possibly contact the human resources office or stop by, and they may have a human resources resource center where you can go and get help applying for jobs and help with your resumes and everything. So, Shelly, this is not a one answer fits all, but yeah, you can go and find resources online. Again, you can go to VA Careers and find advice on the federal resumes. The VA OPM. There's a lot of different websites out there that help you. And again, you can go in the comment section. There are some people I'm sure that are out there telling you that they can help you with your federal resume and that are truly legit. So if you need help, you just got to pick one of those avenues and find ways to get that information for yourself. So with that being said, again, thank you for having me for your Q&A session this week. I know the second Tuesday of each month, you normally have one of my colleagues, Kendra or Tim, and they are a plethora of information. They have more information in their minds than I do. But I appreciate you for accepting me today for your second Tuesday of the month. And as always, I appreciate it. Again, make sure you hit that share button. Let's get this information out to as many people as possible. And again, we're here for you. I'm not here for me. I have a good team that works behind the scenes. We're here for you because, again, whether you're someone that's seeking to come to the VA, we want to make sure that happens, or whether you're someone that's already in the VA system, maybe you're a VA employee, you're trying to find your next position, next promotion, we are here for you. And we appreciate you guys tuning in with us every Tuesday. We're going to be here. We're going to continue to be here every Tuesday. And we appreciate you guys being part of our broadcast. So with that, thank you for watching. If you have any other questions, again, leave those in the comment section. If I wasn't able to answer that on our broadcast today, again, our team and I go through those throughout the day and throughout the week. And so with that, have a great day, and we will see you on next Tuesday.